Good morning, sir.
Should we wait for a bit then? All right. As yesterday's class was going on, hold on, I'll start my video as well. Mm, 1 second. Right. As we were discussing in yesterday's class about T4 and T3, I told you that most of the circulating, what do you call, thyroid hormone that you will find in your blood will be T4. Okay? The most usable form of thyroid hormone that can be utilized by your cells will be T3. All right.
इधर स्क्रीन
Thyroid. क्या हुआ स्क्रीन दिख रहा
स्क्रीन हाँ सर ठीक से
नहीं?
नहीं दिख रहा
1 second. Are you able to see now?
जी सर देख सकते
दिख रहा अभी? Are all of
हाँ
you
दिख
able
रहा
to
सर
see this free and bound concept of what do you call TFT?
Yes, sir.
All right,
Yes,
चलो
sir.
ठीक है. Now as I was telling, T3 and T4 में the most common circulatory hormone will be T4, but that is the thing. यहाँ पर circulate the hormones also, they are not exactly circulating freely. Very small fraction of those hormones are freely circulating. That will be around 0.03% for T4 and 0.3% for T3. Hence they are termed FT4 and FT3, which represents free. Most of them are bound to some protein because they will need that protein to transport them properly. Okay, at least to take them on time. If you take that kind of an example, let's suppose these hormones want to go from particular your thyroid to any particular X organ. Okay, if they want to do so in a proper amount of time, let's suppose they are using proteins, and other than that there is a small fraction that keeps on circulating around what do you call in your blood, but it is not exactly timed, so you cannot have quick reactions from that. On the other hand, if these hormones are being transported by proteins, you can expect them to what do you call reach any particular target organ on time. So you will have thyroid binding globulin, thyroid binding prealbumin, that is TBG and TBPA, and albumin. These are the three main proteins through which what they call transport of your thyroid hormones occur. Okay. Now there is one important thing that you need to know. If a hormone is bound to a protein, it will not be functional for a cell. Okay. So if I have a hepatocyte, let's suppose, okay, one cell of your this thing, क्या बोलते हैं आपका liver. Now if that cell needs thyroid hormone, let's suppose it is in requirement of T3 or T4 because for growth or whatever metabolic process, I cannot present that hormone to the cell when it is protein bound. Meaning, if that hormone is protein bound, it is non-usable by your cell. It needs to detach first, then it will be absorbed inside. But if you want to store the hormone, then those protein binding will be very helpful, because you can just have your hormones what you call circulating around your what you call blood without being used and acting as storage, indirect storage basically. All right, I hope you understood the difference. If it is protein bound, it is not usable. If it is non-protein bound, it can get into cell. That is the basic of it. All right. Uh, right. Now, what causes elevation or decrease in TBG, thyroid binding globulin? Okay. Almost 70% of your T4 and T3 will be bound to TBG. So most of what you call thyroid hormones will be transported through this particular protein. Meaning, if I have a problem in this protein, there can be severe deficiencies in what you call the amount of hormone, or they can be what you call abnormal increase in the amount of hormone in a particular cell. So for example, let's suppose my bone needs, or any particular organ in my body is in the need of a thyroid hormone. If I have decreased amount of TBG, it will be very hard for me or my body to what do you call meet the demands of that particular organ basically. Okay, if I have, let's suppose, 10 hormone molecules, and what do you call this particular organ needs 10 hormone molecules. Now I have some 3 or 4 protein molecules that are or let's say for the sake of ease, I have 10 protein molecules as well, who are transporting these 10 hormone molecules to your what do you call target organ. Now, if I have a decrease in the amount of thyroid binding globulin, meaning the protein that is transporting the hormone, if that is less in quantity, I will not be able to transport as many hormone molecules to that target organ, meaning the target organ will not work properly. All right, I hope you understand the logic here. We have one particular target organ. Let's suppose it is your eye or it is your heart. Okay, from your thyroid, some thyroid hormones T3 and T4 need to be transported from your thyroid to your heart. To transport this, you are using TBG. Okay, 70% of all the hormones, thyroid hormones, will be transported to TBG. Now if there is decreased amount of TBG, you will not have enough amount of protein to simply transport it, so your heart will not function properly because it is not getting enough amount of what you call thyroid hormone. Okay, that is the crux of it. In on the other hand, in elevation case, there will be excessive amount that is supplied. Okay, exactly opposite will happen here. Now, these are some of the common causes that will cause elevation or decrease in TBG. Now, coming to the first elevation part, pregnancy will cause elevation in TBG. Pregnancy will cause elevation in several protein formation. One particular protein that is formed in excess is TBG as well. Estrogen therapy. Estrogen therapy, now this depends on how you are using estrogen and progesterone. Estrogen and progesterone, आप लोगों को reproductive system पढ़ा है? Yes or no? I didn't get you.
No, sir.
No, sir.
No. Okay. Acha. So think of it this way: in female reproductive system, you need estrogen and progesterone both play an important role in their own senses at a particular time. Okay, let's suppose in a what you call menstrual cycle of 28 days, estrogen and progesterone play important roles in the first 14 days, the next 14 days, and different parts of those menstrual cycle. Okay, they have their own importance in one particular time period. Now you can use supplementation of estrogen and progesterone smartly in particular days, so that they can act as something that can boost the chances of what you call conception basically, or the same hormone, if given improperly, can be used as a contraceptive. Okay, now estrogen and progesterone are responsible for, you know, that estrogen and progesterone are female sexual organ, or what you call hormones. Now if you are timing them properly, then they can be very helpful in conception. So if someone is having fertility problems, or someone is not able to conceive properly, then these can be helpful. But on the other hand, you can also give them as contraceptive, depending on when you are giving, what dose you are giving, and how you are giving. Okay, so in both of these conditions, what will happen is they can cause TBG elevation. Okay, estrogen, generally oral contraceptive pills will be your estrogen and progestin, but they are in different doses and they are timed differently. That is the main difference. Okay, you will learn better next year, but for now at least remember that. Now then there is acute viral hepatitis. There is a viral infection, as the name suggests. Acute viral hepatitis, meaning there is a viral infection that is what you call spreading very rapidly and causing damage very rapidly in your liver. Okay, that is the basic meaning of acute viral hepatitis. Primary biliary cirrhosis is the autoimmune disease. Okay, primary biliary cirrhosis में क्या होता? There is obstructions in your bile canaliculi and bile ducts because of an autoimmune condition. Autoimmune conditions are those in which your own immune system will attack you. Okay, so that is an autoimmune condition. There are several autoimmune conditions. You have lupus, you have what you call amyloidosis. There are several ones. Autoimmune conditions in general are the ones in which a person's immune system will start attacking their own cells, thinking that they are foreign cells or unnecessary cells. Primary biliary cirrhosis is something in which your immune system is attacking your bile canals and what you call your passageway of your bile basically. So what will happen? Bile will start getting accumulated. That is what is happening in primary biliary cirrhosis. Hepatocellular cancer, simply put, is liver cancer. Collagen vascular disease is another autoimmune condition in which what do you call there is a collagen disorder. Formation of collagen will not be proper. Collagen is very important for several things. Your several rheumatoid diseases are related to your collagen disorders as well. Okay. On the flip side, these are all the conditions that will increase the amount of TBG. Meaning, if a person has any of these conditions, you can gauge that the person will have what you call excessive amount of thyroid hormone being supplied. Okay, obviously there is a limit to which thyroid hormones will be produced, so they will be circulating around in your what you call body. Now let's suppose I have what you call a requirement of 10 hormone units. Okay, this is only an example. Let's suppose I need I बोला तो for example, let's say we are talking about your eye, the one which you see through, right? Your eye requires 10 units of T3 and T4. Okay, 10 units each of T3, T4, for which you need 20 molecules of TBG to transport 10 each units of T3, T4. Now instead of what you call this, I have elevated amount of TBG. I have 40 TBG molecules which are binding to different thyroid hormones themselves. So there is a higher chance that the eye will get more than 20. Okay, if you can understand the logic here. Coming to this, you will understand a little better in pathology next year anyway, but this is the basic of it. Now, what causes decreased amount of TBG? There are a few drugs. Now, glucocorticoids are a particular type of drug. Corticosteroids आप लोगों को adrenal medulla पढ़ा है, kidney पढ़ा है बोला तो? What is adrenal gland? The functions of adrenal gland, layers of adrenal gland. So no. Have you guys been taught about the adrenal gland? क्या वो पूरे सो गए क्या? Hold on. How come no one is answering? Please switch your video on, all of you. If you are there, then why aren't you answering? Were you taught about adrenal gland? Audio काम नहीं कर रहा. You were not taught. Okay. Keep the video on. Alan, Mohan, Akshara, Jyoti, Kishan, Archana, all of you, switch your video on. Hold on. Right. Let it be this way. Now, coming, as you were not taught about the adrenal gland, basically adrenal gland ke 3 layers रहते, okay? These 3 layers will secrete, Moise, you also, they will secrete different kind of hormones. There will be 3 different layers secreting a bunch of different kinds of hormones. Now, amongst them, there will be one particular category called glucocorticoids. They will be relating to corticosteroids. You will understand it a little better when you come across adrenal gland. But glucocorticoids will basically be immunosuppressant drugs. Okay, if I talk about glucocorticoids, your dexamethasone, recently it came into picture, right? That dexamethasone is helping people with the coronavirus, that it is helping in what do you call abating the complications of corona. In any case, these are immunosuppressant drugs in the sense that they will suppress the immune system. So in such a case, what will happen is the amount of TBG will decrease if you are giving, if some person is in what do you call glucocorticoid therapy. Now when will you give something where you want a decreased amount of what do you call immune response? see, immunosuppressant drugs are given to people who are undergoing transplant reactions. For example, if you are transplanting a liver, for example, okay, some part of a liver, or you are transplanting a kidney from one person to other person, obviously you will match. Okay, you will try to match the HLA. You will you perform several tests, and you'll make sure that they are closely related in proteins and in blood group and all of that. But what can happen is, because you are putting a foreign body in a different person, let's suppose I have person X and person Y. Person X is donating a kidney to person Y. Now, even though they are closely matched, person Y's body will reject what you call person X kidney for a long period of time before it can actually accept it as its own organ. Because for a long period of time, it will treat the other kidney as a foreign body. Hence, it will not function properly. In that condition, you need to suppress your immune system so that it does not cause damage to the kidney which is donated. Okay, यहाँ पर you are getting a donated kidney because your kidneys are already not working properly. Now if your immune system starts attacking the given kidney, then the whole procedure will be a failure. Please mute your audio. Now what happens is, in such conditions immunosuppressants are given. Also in cases like osteoarthritis, okay, in osteoarthritis or rheumatoid arthritis especially, in those conditions you can give glucocorticoids, right? Then there will be androgens are male sex hormones, basically your testosterone, dihydrotestosterone, uh, uh, all of that. Okay, there are 3-4 hormones in that. Then there is nephrotic syndrome. Nephrotic syndrome is basically a condition in which your urine is basically, there's a lot of protein being excreted in your urine. This basically happens because there is blood vessel damage in your kidney. Okay, if the what you call small blood vessels and what you call the small canaliculi, the small vessels that are reaching your kidney, if they are getting damaged, you will start seeing more amount of protein being excreted in your urine. It is associated with other conditions as well, but that is the basic of nephrotic syndrome. Then there is protein losing enteropathy. This is basically a condition in which there is damage in your GIT, and the albumin, basically blood vessel that is supplying your GIT. Now let's suppose any part of your GIT, for example, let's suppose I take your stomach, okay, one important part of your GIT. The blood vessel supplying your stomach, they are getting damaged, they are getting broken down, and the albumin and proteins from your blood is spilling out. That is protein losing enteropathy basically. Okay. Then there is cirrhosis. Cirrhosis is basically liver damage occurring over a long period of time where there is scarring. Okay, so scar tissue will be formed. If you have ever had any significant injury on your hands, legs, somewhere, you know what is scarring. There will be a scar-like tissue that is formed after it regenerates. Okay, regeneration and repair you will learn next year, but there will be scarring. If such scarring occurs over a long period of time in liver, especially for example, if you have an alcoholic patient, they will have cirrhosis at one point. Okay, till a certain point your liver will be able to cope up. After that, it will go into damage and there will be scarring. There is no coming back from scarring. Okay, your liver will not be able to cope up back from scarring. There is that. Then there is critical illness. Any critical illness or starvation or any critical illness that is causing malnutrition. So all of these factors will decrease the amount of TBG, right? Thyroid binding globulin. That was about TBG. Now diseases of thyroid gland. So even though इसमें इतने सारे mention करे, the main two ones that you need to concern yourself right now is hypo and hyperthyroidism. The others you will eventually learn, okay, over some period of time. But hypo and hyperthyroidism is the one that you have to learn in this chapter at least, with relation to TFT. Now what is this? First we'll go over hypothyroidism. See, there are several other types as well. What is lymphoma, anatomical abnormalities, and all of that will be concerned only with hypo and hypothyroidism. Okay. Did you guys understand the previous part first of all? अभी तक जितना पढ़ा है ये क्लास में?
Yes, sir.
पक्का?
Yes, sir.
चलो ठीक है. If you're not understanding, stop. I'll explain again. Okay, any particular part. Coming to hypothyroidism, see, if you remember that axis the other day which you are discussing, hypothalamus is secreting TRH, TRH is going and stimulating thyroid gland is secreting thyroid hormones, right? Sorry, the hypothalamus is going and secreting TRH, to your pituitary. Pituitary is giving TSH. TSH is going to your thyroid gland. Thyroid gland is going to your what you call thyroid, releasing thyroid hormones. Basically, that is how you get the chain. Now, hypothyroidism there are a few types: primary and secondary type. Now, most basic type of hypothyroidism, the primary kind, is in which you have decreased amount of T3 and T4. Thyroid hormones are less in what you call your blood. Because of this, in primary hypothyroidism, what will happen is, now you know there is a negative feedback mechanism. So what will happen if my T3 and T4 are low? Something will happen on top, no, in that chain. What will happen to TSH? Something will happen. I don't know who this is, but okay, if you were absent, okay, that is fine. I cannot see your name in that. Anyway, now what will happen if your T3 and T4 are low? Something will happen to your TSH, no? What will happen?
Yes. It will increase the production.
Serum level will get decreased.
Akanksha, thoda dur rakho microphone. If you start biting at your microphone, you will not be able to talk. Right. Keep it here. I used to have the same thing before I got this. The previous earphones had the same thing. You have to hold it. That is a problem with these earphones. So, any case, what will happen in primary hypothyroidism is, because your T3 and T4 are low, your TSH will go up. But because there is a problem in the production itself, now the cell that is producing T3, T4, there is a problem in that. So no matter how much amount of TSH I increase, you might not be able to produce enough amount of T3, T4. Okay, that is one condition. So that is how you are getting hypothyroidism, at least the primary kind. Okay, I'll repeat once again. Now, I have some symptoms of hypothyroidism. I will go through the symptoms of hypothyroidism eventually. But let's suppose I'm getting a patient with vertical symptoms of hypothyroidism. Now, in such a patient, if I measure their blood, okay, the T3 and T4 levels in their blood, I will find that it is decreased. But on the other hand, I will find TSH levels are high. Thyroid stimulating hormones level are high, meaning there is a problem in the production of T3, T4. So if TSH is working properly, already TSH level is high. Technically speaking, if TSH is high, T3, T4 levels should increase eventually, but that is not happening. This is because your what you call thyroglobulin, or hold on, this is how your thyroid hormones are produced. I didn't tell this to you, right? One second. Yeah, if you guys can see this, are you able to see the image?
Yes, sir.
Chalo,
Yes, sir.
so this is a thyroid follicle. The other day when we went over the medical basic anatomy of your thyroid gland, I told you there are several follicles which are enclosing a colloid-like space. That is a thyroid follicle which has a thyroglobulin, which will be responsible for production of thyroid hormone. Now, what will happen is, if you can see on the left, TSH is coming and stimulating your thyroglobulin in your thyroid follicle. In this, what will happen is, iodine, when the stimulation occurs, iodine will come inside. It will bind to an amino acid called tyrosine. This will what you call cause thyroglobulin to produce what you call diiodothyronine and monoiodothyronine. So if what you call one tyrosine molecule, there will be another molecule as well. So if one iodine molecule is present, you will get monoiodothyronine. If two iodine molecules are present, you will get diiodothyronine. If two molecules of diiodothyronine combine with each other, you will get thyroxine, which is also tetraiodothyronine. Or if one diiodotyrosine or diiodothyronine bhi bolte usko, diiodotyrosine and monoiodotyrosine combine with each other, you will get triiodothyronine. Okay, so as you know, T3 will have the greatest metabolic activity. T4 will be more in amount in circulation, but T3 will be more metabolically active. This is how thyroid hormones are formed. कोई डाउट है इसमें, कैसा मालूम कैसा हुआ? See, I'll repeat once again. TSH से thyroid follicle को stimulation आया, ठीक है? This stimulation, how TSH is coming into picture is from anterior pituitary. Anterior pituitary is getting stimulation from your hypothalamus. That is, hypothalamus is secreting TRH, thyrotropin releasing hormone. which is in turn stimulating your pituitary, anterior pituitary particularly. Anterior pituitary is releasing TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone. This is going to your thyroid gland, specifically your thyroid follicle. In your thyroid follicle, upon stimulation from TSH, iodine will bind with tyrosine, okay, in your thyroglobulin, and it will form a 2 iodine molecule and a single iodine molecule, which is diiodotyrosine and monoiodotyrosine. If two of such diiodotyrosine molecules combine each other, you will get T4. So T2 plus T2 will give you T4. Simplest explanation. If you have T2 plus T1, which is monoiodotyrosine, you will get T3. 2 plus 1 is equal to 3. Right? T3 will have greatest metabolic activity. T4 will be more in circulation. Okay? That is the basic difference. I hope you understood the cycle. Okay? Anyone have any doubts in the formation of thyroid hormone? This is again the basic. We didn't go into too much detail. This is just the basic overview kind of thing. I hope you guys understood it. If you have any doubts, please let me know. Okay, there. बालाजी रोज लेट है कई को क्या हुआ? Yeah. Now coming back to this, hypothyroidism is a condition in which your TSH is high, primary hypothyroidism. You will understand the types of hypothyroidism as well in this. Now, basic symptoms, clinical symptoms that you will see which are common in hypothyroidism will be fatigue, lethargy, and cold intolerance. So the patient will be shivering literally because their body is not able to maintain their body temperature. Okay, there'll be a normally your body temperature is maintained by your hypothalamus. So what will happen is because of some dysfunction, decrease in the amount of T3, T4, your body will not be able to maintain normal body temperature. So your normal body temperature being 98.6, that is not maintained. Now the risk of this is more in females than in men. Okay. Now some complications in this will be myxedema and cretinism. Now myxedema is basically, hold on, I think I have an image lying around for myxedema. One second. Oh, that's quite a, yeah, this is myxedema. आप लोगों को दिख रहा है ये image? A man with swollen face?
No, sir.
You cannot?
No,
अच्छा,
sir.
अच्छा वैसा share नहीं हुआ. Okay, one second. Right. Now you can see. So hypothyroidism में ये होता. The patient will literally, what do you call, their face will swell. They will have lateral eyebrows being thinner. Their hair will dry and become coarse. They will have preorbital edema. So under their eye, they will have proper edema, fluid accumulation, and they will have a puffy face because their face will have edema around it. Okay, and they'll have very dry skin. These are some common symptoms of your hypothyroidism. One second. किधर गया? ठीक है. Myxedema is a complication in which what do you call, there will be a lot of accumulation of mucopolysaccharides. ठीक है, severe accumulation of mucopolysaccharides, especially in your skin, causing thickening. So thickening, and your skin will look doughy. So literally your skin will become much more thicker. So if you can understand that, hold on. If I had a, one second. Myxedema. You have a complication called myxedema crisis. Not getting a proper image for that. वो पूरा, if I find one, I'll send it to you. No mind. Right. Coming back to this thing. Now, cretinism is another one such severe condition which is related to hypothyroidism. Cretinism is something that you studied in your intermediate. It mostly occurs in children, especially those who are not getting proper iodinated food. Right. Iodine is very important for the formation of what do you call this thing, T3 and T4. If someone is not able to consume iodinated salt or there is deficiency in the amount of iodine that they are consuming, children generally tend to have cretinism while they are growing up. They will not grow properly, and they will have mental retardation. There will not be proper mental growth, so they might be retarded. Right. Now, based on TSH and FT4 level, so free T4 level, you will have classification in between. So primary hypothyroidism, secondary hypothyroidism, and all of that. Now coming to the first one, primary hypothyroidism. In this, there is destroyed thyroid tissue. I told you there is a problem in the thyroid tissue as well itself, or your thyroid hormone is not being synthesized properly, because of which there is low amount of T4, But because there is low amount of T4, TSH will increase because of negative feedback. I told you what is negative feedback yesterday. If T4, T3 levels are low in your body will send a signal to your brain telling that, look, T3, T4 are low, increase the amount of TSH. So that is happening here. But because there is a problem in the synthesis, T4 and T3 levels will not increase. So continuously your TSH will keep going up while your T4 and T3 will remain low. What causes this? Now, the most common cause, at least, will be your first one, chronic lymphocytic thyroiditis. This is also called Hashimoto. The SH है वो spelling mistake है. Hashimoto नहीं है वो Hashimoto है. Okay, Hashimoto's thyroiditis is something you've already learned as well. इससे पहले I'm sure somewhere or the other in your intermediate or in your school you must have come across this, right? So Hashimoto's thyroiditis is a genetic condition. It's technically an autoimmune condition in which what you call your thyroid gland is being destroyed. Okay. Another way is radiation injury. So if someone is undergoing radiation therapy, especially near their neck through I-31, iodine 131 is the what you call isotope of iodine that is radioactive. If they are undergoing that kind of radiation, it can cause hypothyroidism or post-operative hypothyroidism. So in case of neck injury, let's suppose because of some reason the thyroid gland, some part of it got cut, or sometimes hypothyroidism can also occur as a complication of hyperthyroidism. Meaning, suppose I have one X person who had hyperthyroidism, increased amount of T3, T4, and I'm treating them for hyperthyroidism, but because of which their body will go into overdrive and they will push them from one extreme to the other. So from hyperthyroidism, they will run into hypothyroidism. Okay, if you can understand the logic, sometimes what will happen is in hyperthyroidism as well, you need to perform surgery at some point of time. Drugs will not work. Okay, you need to, especially in life-threatening conditions, you will have to immediately perform a surgery and go on like that. So in such conditions, what can happen is, if you are not careful about it, hyperthyroidism can go into hypothyroidism. That is another way through which you will lose function of your thyroid gland. That is where neck surgery comes into picture. And you have simple developmental defects. So basically congenital defects, developmental defects, all of them will come under thyroid gland dysgenesis. Your thyroid gland is not working properly because it did not develop properly from childhood. So that is the last condition in that. Then there is infiltrative disease. This will relate to any viral or bacterial infection that is causing damage to your thyroid gland, causing defect in the functioning of your thyroid gland. Right, then there are a few more conditions. See, these conditions, you don't need to memorize all of them. Just remember the first one, Hashimoto's thyroiditis, is the most important one. Others will come along. Utna important nahi hai. Other defects will be other defects. These are less common. Okay? Congenital biosynthesis defect, or what do you call iodine deficiency defect, or drug induced. Sometimes some drugs can cause it. So if a patient is on lithium, lithium is generally used as an anti-anxiety drug or anti-epileptic drug. If someone has epilepsy or anxiety, lithium is used. Or glucocorticoids, I told you, it's an immunosuppressant. If someone is taking iodine, or if someone is taking propranolol is antihypertensive. If someone has high blood pressure, you can give propranolol. So all of these can cause what do you call decrease the basically hypothyroidism. Or I told you, see the second one, anti-thyroid agents, something like propylthiouracil. You are trying to treat hyperthyroidism, but while treating that, you will push the patient to hypothyroidism instead of normal. Now, if hyperthyroidism is here, normal is here, what you will do is you will push them from here to hypothyroidism instead of bringing them down to normal. So that is what will happen sometimes in anti-thyroid therapy if you're not careful. Okay? Or they can be idiopathic. Idiopathic meaning the reason is not completely known. It is not completely understood. Okay? TSH receptor defect is something like that. So TSH receptor is the receptor that will confine with thyroid stimulating hormone. So your thyroid gland itself, for it to function, now TSH is coming. Let's suppose this is your, I'm not sure whether you can see me in video or not, but hold on. Right. Let's suppose this is your thyroid hormone. Okay, your thyroid hormone is obviously not that large, but for example's sake, let's suppose this is your thyroid hormone and this is your TSH. Your TSH is coming to your thyroid hormone, binding to a receptor here. That is how hormones function. You need a receptor here. Let's suppose this is the receptor. This fella is coming, attaching here. once this fellow attaches, it sends a response inside here in your, okay, here in your thyroid hormone, thyroid gland. So that thyroid gland can do its function. If your TSH does not have a proper receptor, even if there is high amounts of TSH, you will not get enough function in your thyroid gland. Okay, I hope you understand the logic. Here TSH is not a problem. The receptor that is recognizing TSH is a problem. Okay, for example, you are going to write your board exams. Okay, and you have your hall ticket number. Now you are not you in a board exam. Okay, you are only represented by your hall ticket, right? Now, right, in that particular center wherever you are going to write your exam, let's suppose your hall ticket number is not mentioned. Okay, even though you are there, the center is working properly, because the receptor or that hall ticket number is not displayed, you will not be able to write the exam. Okay, something similar happens here. Because the receptor is not working properly, even the TSH is normal and the thyroid gland is normal, your TSH will not be able to elicit its function in the thyroid gland. Okay, if you can understand the logic here. ठीक है, तुम लोगों को समझ में आया वो क्या बोला?
Yes, sir.
ओके, ओ क्या बोलते, पंचतंत्र की कथाओं के ऐसा सुन रहे? Right now, mild and subclinical hypothyroidism, this will be another type of hypothyroidism. So other than primary, I told you there are other types as well. Now mild and subclinical hypothyroidism is a specific condition in which your T4 is normal but TSH is elevated for a short period of time, 6 to 12 weeks or sometimes longer. Okay, this is kind of a peculiar condition. So just remember the first one, that is more than enough for you. Primary hypothyroidism, uske subtypes hai ye. Then there is something called transient hypothyroidism. Transient meaning it is fluctuating. The simplest way of telling is it is fluctuating. Now you know what is fluctuation of light? Aati jati, right? Same thing will happen. Transient is basically it is cyclical. Okay, so hypothyroidism is occurring in cycles. It is also called silent hypothyroiditis. Yeah, someone has a doubt. I'm getting some audio. Please speak clearly or put it in the chat. I'm not able to hear you clearly. Okay, coming back to transient hypothyroidism, what is happening in this is it is also called silent hypothyroiditis because the symptoms are not as clearly observed because it is transient. कभी कभी होता, कभी कभी नहीं होता. ठीक है, it is harder to diagnose it in a way. It is more common postpartum. So after delivery, postpartum is basically after parturition. So postpartum thyroiditis is a kind of transient hypothyroidism. Mostly transient hypothyroidism will occur after postpartum basically. Also subacute thyroiditis will be related to your transient hypothyroidism. Generally, if a patient is undergoing treatment through I-131, Yari, would you want to get up and sit at least? Very light down. I-131 treatment, if someone is undergoing I-131 treatment, all right, I told you radiation therapy through iodine-131, in such patients they can have Graves' disease is a disease of hyperthyroidism. We'll study that tomorrow. But if a patient is being treated for hyperthyroidism using thyroidectomy or I-131, in such patients this type of hypothyroidism can occur. I told you sometimes treating for hyperthyroidism can lead to hypothyroidism. All right. Then there is your secondary hypothyroidism where there is low amount of T4 and low TSH as well, normal or low TSH. Now this is a very peculiar condition. So we'll not go into details of this. There is a central problem, meaning there's a problem in your brain itself, because of which even though you have low amount of T4 and normal amount of TSH, you will have the symptoms of hypothyroidism. That will be the secondary kind. Okay, we'll discuss hyperthyroidism tomorrow. It's also called thyrotoxicosis. I hope you guys understood today's class. Yeah, someone has a doubt or not able to see the chat. Okay, okay. Chalo, ठीक है. See you tomorrow.